Hey guys, welcome to Yarn and Yap. This is my first ever session, so I am very glad that you're here. My name is Lita with Lita Fajita Crafts, and today I just want to take some time to introduce myself and introduce Yarn and Yap. So, I got this idea from Moonbay Crochet. I've seen several crocheters do it and several other types of crafters, but I think Moonbay Crochet is my favorite. She is just very down to earth, and I love that about her. That's something I really value in people when I see it, and I just thought, you know what, I'm trying to start up a YouTube channel as well, and I would love to have a little community going here. So I'll be honest, I need to get used to speaking in front of a camera, okay? This is my third video. Gotta practice my editing skills. Right now I make mostly tutorials, but tutorials require a lot of planning and a lot of time, and I'm pretty busy with work and everything, and so I just kind of need something that doesn't take as much time but is still a really great way to connect. And so I'm really excited. I can't wait to meet you guys. Go ahead and tell me a little bit about yourselves in the comments. Tell me what kind of content you like to watch. Maybe let me know who some of your favorite artists are. Let me know what kind of crafts you're into. So personally, my favorite craft is crochet. I will tell my story about how I got into it in a second, but I do also do a little teeny tiny bit of knitting, not very much. I don't even know how to increase and decrease, okay? Like, I pretty much just can do scarves and pot holders. But I really like to tie-dye, and I actually decided to combine my two favorite crafts by dyeing yarn sometimes. So, I'm maybe gonna dye some tonight, actually. I've been making the tasseled red protest hat. If you know, you know. And if you don't know, you'll find out, because I'm gonna do a craftivism video about it. But anyway, and some of my friends have asked for some, and I don't have any red yarn, so I'm just gonna make some red yarn. And something else to know about me is all of my favorite yarns are like the hand-dyed ones. Those can get pretty expensive, and so that's another reason that I really like to dye my own, because if you buy them in bulk, you can find a lot better deals, and then I can get several different colors out of a box of skeins. I have thought about maybe trying to dye professionally at some point, but you know, they have to actually do a lot of really repetitive stuff, and this is weird for a crocheter to say, but I don't like to do a lot of repetitive stuff. At least, I don't know, I like doing a lot of crochet stitches. I mostly make wearables actually, and those can, I'm plus size, okay. Those can get really super repetitive. I gotta make them like, I've gotta make my plus size clothing. Sometimes it feels like I'm making a blanket. But, you know, it's relaxing and I love it, so. Ironically, I have not tried making a blanket, but I really want to. I've been crocheting for about 4 years, consistently. So my first introduction to crochet actually was when I was 6, 7, sorry, I was about 6 or 7 though. I don't actually remember exactly how old I was, but somewhere around there. And my grandma, who is really super duper crafty, I mean amazing, like she can do every craft under the sun, she taught me how to chain. And she might have tried to teach me how to single crochet, I don't remember. I just remember getting good at chaining and being really happy about it, and then I think that I picked up one of her projects and looked at it and tried to teach myself how to single crochet, except that I didn't know what that was called. I wanted to make my project taller, and I didn't do it correctly. In hindsight, I may have done a slip stitch, but I don't know. My memory from that long ago was not very vivid. So I unfortunately didn't stick with that very long, but then when I was in 3rd grade, so I think I was about 9, One of my friend's moms volunteered to teach a knitting class at my school. After like, I don't know, like a whole semester of knitting lessons, I did know how to knit and purl and make straight pieces. And my friend actually had some knitting looms that she made hats on, and she let me borrow one. So I made a few hats. She showed me how to do it. I really enjoyed that. I think my parents even got me my own set of looms. I don't know what happened to them, because I had to buy myself a new set during COVID, but basically that was when I remember just realizing how cool yarn is. I got to go to the store for the knitting class and pick out my own yarn, and I think that it was a Red Heart yarn. I'm not totally sure. I went to Walmart. They used to have a huge Red Heart selection. They do still have a Red Heart selection. But it used to be like, or maybe I was just really small. Maybe it felt huge to me because I was small. I don't know. I don't remember. But if I remember correctly, I think I got a Red Heart yarn that was pink and blue and maybe had some other colors in it. I've always been a person that gets a lot of dopamine from color changes, and so of course I gravitated towards that. And even after I sort of maybe lost interest, I don't really remember what happened there. But I got into tie-dye as my next hobby. That was a really, really fun one for me, a person who likes color and dislikes perfection. I am super duper not a perfectionist. I learned a lot of tie-dye techniques when I was like 10, and as I got older, I was in like a church group that was really similar to Scouts, and they had a lot of like teen leadership type programs. And so as part of those programs, I could teach classes, and my favorite one to teach was the tie-dye one. I taught that several times. And I even when I wasn't in the group anymore, I kept on tie-dyeing a lot. Like, there's tie-dye stuff all over my house. And it did sort of get to a point where I had way too much tie-dye stuff. It kind of wasn't practical for me to be tie-dyeing a lot anymore. And I think during COVID, before this happened, but during COVID is when I decided that I needed something I can do with my hands more often, because I can't really tie-dye every day. That would get a little bit crazy. I was inspired to start crocheting again by a supervisor that I had. I had a student job, and we had a lot of downtime at our job, and my supervisor crocheted on her downtime, and she made all these really cute decorations for the office. She made a lot of amigurumis. She even made one of my coworkers, I don't remember if it was a shawl or a cardigan, but it was something like that, and it was really, really cool. It was like, it fit her personality really well. She gave me a super cute set of coasters that I still have. But yeah, she would crochet like little gifts for people sometimes, and it was awesome. She was pretty well known for it, and so when I did decide to start crocheting again, I went to her for help because I got my chains down once again. But like, I think that I was months in and had not gotten single crochets down, and I was getting pretty discouraged about it. I would make the stitches, but I would like lose count of the stitches, so my swatches I was making, I was trying to make them squares, and they would end up being really wonky shapes. I just realized that I have been yapping for 11 minutes and I haven't even told you what the project is. So, here's the project. I am making a set of couples mittens. This is obviously just one mitten, but I am making it in Hobie Tea Time XL. This pattern is originally written for a weight 5 yarn, and this is actually a weight 4 yarn, so I had to modify the pattern a little bit. But I'm going to link the pattern below. It's by Heart Hook Home, and it is free on Ravelry. She also has a paid PDF version, and I really love this pattern. It's the concept of it is that you and your partner each have your own mitten, and then you have a shared mitten. It's like a huge mitten with 2 armholes so that you can hold hands inside the mitten. And so it's almost Valentine's Day right now while I'm making this, so I'm hoping to have this done in time for Valentine's Day. My boyfriend and we're still deciding what we want to do. We've thought about having like an indoor date. Last year we made ourselves a heart-shaped pizza. It was so fun, and then we painted like a paint by numbers that we had, and we didn't finish it. Like we got like some of the grass in the corner done, and it's a huge like detailed butterfly. So we are definitely going to work on that again this Valentine's Day. We've decided maybe we even want it to be like a Valentine's Day tradition, just forever and ever and ever. It's probably gonna take us like 20 years to get done. But yeah, we thought about maybe going out. There's this crepe place that I really, really like. It's gonna be a fun day though. Whatever we do, it's always fun when we get to spend time together, so I'm pretty excited. I'm messing up my stitches because I'm yapping, and that's kind of cracking me up. I actually do a lot of like crocheting and talking. How do people, when they do Yarn and Yap, keep the yarn in the frame? Do they? I think I need to watch more of them. I don't entirely know what I'm doing, but if you're still here, thank you for sticking with me. This pattern also uses a stitch that I'm not quite as familiar with, but I really like, and it's called the linked double crochet. And so if you look at it, there's like no holes. Like I'm stretching this and you can't really see holes. If it was a double crochet, let me just make one. I mean, if you already crochet, you're probably aware of this, but if you're brand new or you're thinking about crocheting or you're a knitter, then maybe you don't know this. Look at that. Those are just regular double crochets. There's no chain space in between them or anything. Those are just double crochets. Compared to the linked double crochets, look at that. So these linked double crochets are gonna do a great job keeping our hands warm, I think. I'm pretty excited for that. The weather here has been fluctuating like crazy. It always does. I live in Missouri. I think the whole Midwest is like that, actually. But this year is probably gonna be even worse because guess what? We just had Groundhog Day. And apparently there's 2 groundhogs. I think every state has its own groundhog, and then we also have Punxsutawney Phil, like the groundhog of the US. And one of the groundhogs saw their shadows and one didn't. And if anyone's tuning in from outside the US, the legend is that, I don't know what the legend is. I think if the groundhog sees his shadow, we get 6 more weeks of winter, and if the groundhog doesn't see his shadow, it becomes spring. Or it might have that backwards, it might be vice versa. But anyway, one groundhog saw his shadow and one groundhog didn't, and I was like, oh, perfect, I know exactly what this means. This means that like 1 week, it's gonna be below freezing every single day, and the next week, it's gonna be in the 70s, and so far, that's about what happened. Like, I think it got up to 71 degrees today, and when I went for my walk outside of work, there were still little piles of snow on the ground because last week it snowed maybe like 8 or 9 inches, like quite a bit for this area. We usually don't get more than like 2 inches. And so, you know, sometimes when they clear off the parking lots after that, it creates those like mountains of snow that are like taller than me. I'm 5'6", okay, so it creates these like 6-foot piles of snow, and they had melted down to like 1 foot, but it felt weird seeing snow on the ground when it was 70 whatever degrees, I don't know, 71. Anyway, I have a lot to talk about today, I guess. I wanted to show you the drink that I'm drinking. Gotta get used to how cameras work, apparently, but this is a blood orange ginger beer. It is non-alcoholic. It's one of my favorite drinks. I'm trying to drink less sugary drinks, and how many calories are in this? 35! Heck yeah, that is so much better than I thought it would be. genuinely, I thought it was gonna be like, oh, it actually says that right here. Haha. I don't know if you can see it. I genuinely thought it was gonna be like 90 at least. Maybe like, I was prepared for even like 200 at the worst. So, pretty stoked. But yeah, I mean, this sort of, it's pretty spicy because of the ginger, and so I feel like I can drink a few sips of this and have the same satisfaction of drinking like an entire soda. So I might even work on this for a few days, I don't know, but it's not one of those screw-on lids, so I'll have to make myself a makeshift lid if I do that. Back to the about me. I have ADHD, guys. I don't actually even think that I got through the first story, and editing this is going to be a nightmare. I am gonna have to decide if I want to try and rearrange the content to put it in the order that it's supposed to be in, or if I'm just gonna be like, alright, here it is, here's me. If there is one, you know what, okay, no, I gotta start making an agenda. Maybe I do. I thought maybe that I wanted these videos to be unscripted because that's how you're going to get the most real version of me. But I think at the very least I need bulleted talking points, because my version of a list kind of is like, it's a yarn barf. It's not coherent. And okay, so I was going to finish telling you the story about my supervisor that crochets. So yeah, I was making my little swatches. I brought him into work one day so that she could help me with them, and she gave me some really great pointers. And so they went from being, you know, little jagged things to being a trapezoid, which was not quite what I was going for, but it was better. And that was like without her looking over my shoulder. That was just me trying to remember the advice. So I was of course like, this isn't what I was trying to do, but I tried. And she's like, yeah, you did. Great job. And we actually, it was during COVID. It was like 2021. So there was a mask mandate still. And there was a little bunny on the front desk for when people came to check in. We decided that the little trapezoid thing I made could be an apron and it could go on the bunny, and I was very confident in my chains. So I put some little chains on the edges of the apron to like tie it around the bunny. And when people came in, they thought that the bunny was wearing a mask, and they all went to my supervisor and was like, that mask that you made for the bunny is so cute. And she's awesome. She was like, thank you, but actually Lita made it and it's an apron. So I thought that was pretty funny. But I really do love the fact that when I was early in my crochet journey and like I wasn't even making actual squares yet, I still had a lot of support and encouragement and positivity. That's something that I find all the time within the crochet community, and I just love that. So I do hope that my channel can be a place like that for you. I hope that you can come here for encouragement and support and positivity and some fun stories, and I have a lot of ideas of things I want to post. Obviously tutorials. I have 2 tutorials right now. I have lots of them in my brain. I have a lot of other yarn and yaps in my brain. I want to talk about craftivism at some point. I want to talk about mental health, self-care. I would love to talk about craft fails, actually. That would be so funny. Please, guys, send me your stories of craft fails. I will link my DMs, okay? And I just want to know about you guys. Like, tell me what you love about crochet. Tell me how you got into it. Tell me what your favorite kind of yarns are. Maybe even send me suggestions of yarns that you would like me to test out for you. That would be really fun. I would love to do some product review videos. And I've also been wanting to do some challenge videos. You know, like, so I don't make a whole lot of amigurumis, and I think it might be kind of funny for you guys to watch me try to make one. That's gonna be a craft fail. I actually have a video filmed that I can't wrap my head around how to edit, and it's where I tried tie-dyeing yarn, and it was a surprise, is all I will say, because I might end up posting it one of these days. But that even made me think, like, do I want to maybe have a dumb experiments segment on this channel at some point? So yeah, I don't know. Let's see if I can actually get any crochet done during this session. I think that it's a little bit harder to talk and crochet when it's a stitch that I'm not so used to, you know, like double crochets are just very, very much ingrained in my muscle memory. Linked double crochets, I still have to think about them when I do them, and you know, every now and then I'll have to like frog a stitch and start it over because I'm like, what did I do? Why do I have this many loops on my hook? That's the wrong amount of loops. And so, yep, been crocheting for 4 years, but I still do that, so if you do that also, don't feel bad. I think we all do that. I hope we all do that. I hope I'm not the only one who does that. Oh my gosh, I have so many Yarn and Yap ideas. I have like podcasts I want to recommend to you guys. I love podcasts. I love audiobooks. I have a lot of books to recommend to you guys. I have a few TV shows to recommend, lots and lots of patterns to recommend, maybe even patterns to review. That'd be fun. So you know what? Let me know what you guys are interested in. I am super duper excited. I love having ideas. I'm the type of person that will have ideas zoom in and out my head all day. If I try to write them down, I actually would not ever do work. I would just be writing down ideas all day, every day. And I do still have a full-time job, so sometimes my ideas leave my brain before I get to write them down. But it is really super duper nice to meet all of you. Send me some little messages. Say hi, introduce yourselves, leave me some comments, let me know what kind of things you guys like, let me know if you have any favorite patterns, let me know if you have any favorite yarns, let me know what you're working on right now. Ooh, I have a cat named Rosa. I didn't talk about my cat. Well, I'll have to talk about her in a different video, I guess, but let me know if you have any pets. Just let me know what you guys love, what makes you happy. Yeah, if you are interested in any tutorials, I have 2 headband tutorials on here. I will be posting more tutorials as soon as I'm able to make them. I am working on hopefully making a basket tutorial here pretty soon, like a basket that you can change the size of pretty easily. I'll tell you how to do that. I am also working on some patterns. I have a few free patterns on Ravelry that I would love if you guys would go and check out. I will link that below. And I'm working on some larger patterns. They're gonna take a while to come out, but they will be here hopefully before we know it, and I'm really excited about them. Yeah, so thank you so much for watching. I hope that you have a fantastic day. I can't wait to hear from you, get to know you, and I will see you later. Bye!